episode 46 of the Bithell Games Podcast. I'm Alexander Slawinski.
And I'm Mike Bithell.
Each week we talk games, what it's like to make games, and the random stuff we don't find time to talk about generally.
Because we're busy playing and or making games.
Right.
Is that why we're... Yeah.
Yeah. Show notes. Volume Coda, PlayStation VR, available now. Earthshape for Daydream, Google's VR platform for the recently released Pixel phones, available now. $5 in the States. What is it? I'm sorry, not $5. $4.99.
Something. Yeah, exactly. You terrible marketing. I think here it's £4. It's £4 and something. I want to say 79 because of the pound and the dollar. But to be completely honest, haven't checked it in a few days. That might have changed.
So throw some support behind that if you can, if you enjoy this show. Also, Volume Vita from Limited Run games sold out. Batch 1 gone 30 minutes. Batch 2 didn't make it to morning. Thank you to everyone who picked that up.
That's cool.
It is cool. And that box is really cool. Yeah. That box was you made that, right?
I clumsily placed together artwork made by far more talented people. Shout out to the people who made that. But yes, it's good. I like it. It came out well. The foil was awesome.
The foil was awesome. I'm really glad we went ahead and did that.
Yeah, that was good. It cost a little bit more, but it was good.
We took a little hit on our side, but it was totally worth it. That's the thing, is like, if we're gonna do limited run stuff, I kind of want it to
be special, right?
Yeah, to be pretty, because I'm genuinely expecting a majority of the folks who buy that stuff to never open the package. So
they shouldn't. Our games are terrible. It's for the best. Just enjoy it on the shelf. You'll have a far better time.
So what are you playing?
So I am playing. So I played Titanfall. I got Titanfall from my wonderful girlfriend for my birthday. And then I also got myself Call of Duty when it came out. And it is an interesting 2 games to play back to back. And I feel like I played them in the wrong order. So which of those have you played? You played Titanfall, right?
I've played like 2 levels of the Titanfall.
Okay. So Titanfall is amazing.
Because the multiplayer wasn't working for me.
So multiplayer, I've not tried multiplayer yet. I think long-time listeners will know I tend to play the single-player campaigns, and that's kind of usually my experience of these games. Titanfall is a brilliant campaign. Like, it's a brilliant, I guess, 6 hours. I did it in a day. I did it on my pretend birthday, which I had on the Sunday because I was too busy on the actual birthday.
That's the word on the street, by the way.
What, the campaign's great?
Yeah.
It's the correct word. It's brilliant. It's innovative. It's got a bunch of new ideas in terms of gameplay, which I don't want to talk about because I think that's something to discover for yourself. But it's a lot more than you think it is going to be going in.
Yeah, you ruined it for me, so that's
I did ruin it for you, but that's because I was excited, and I should be forgiven for that. And storytelling-wise, it's telling a fun story, and I like how it incorporates some ideas from other games in doing so. No, it feels great. It feels like a single-player campaign that I hope is held up in the future in the same way as Half-Life 2 or something like that. Like, I think it's got a lot of heart, and it's well done. And then there's Call of Duty Infinite. Is it Infinite War or it's Warfare? Isn't it Infinite Warfare? Which is very strange and kind of, well, not strange, kind of very similar to what
starring Jon Snow.
Starring Jon Snow. He is the mocapped actor of note in this one, which seems to be the way they do things now, which is fine. And interestingly, a minor actor from oh goodness me, what was the Night Manager. The chap who helps Coleman, I can't remember his name, is like your
Dr.
sergeant.
House?
Not Dr. House. He definitely doesn't help Coleman. You should watch Night Manager. It's great. So yeah.
But the Night Manager is Dr. House, right?
No, the Night Manager is Loki. Dr. House is the businessman who you find out may be hiding some secrets. It's a very good show. You should watch it. You'd love it, actually. Right up your street. But yeah, no, Call of Duty, it's very Call of Duty, and where it allows itself to be a bit more, it's brilliant. When it allows itself to go off the rails a little bit or do some stuff with the sci-fi, you know, it's great, but it's still always through that lens. So you have the level, you know, the classic Call of Duty level where you're following someone else's arse through a stealth section. You know, chase it, you know, running through, you take out the guy on the left, I'll take out the guy on the right, and it does that, but it does it in space in 0G. So it's things like that. They're fun twists on existing Call of Duty, but like it's still very kind of safe. It has these dogfights, which are actually quite fun, and especially for someone like me who's never been very good at air combat in video games, like, you know, quite nicely easy, which is good. And it's interesting at a certain point, a few hours in, it kind of goes in a non-linear direction. It almost does like a Mass Effect and just has, you know, a big overmap, and you choose missions to do, which I assume are adding up to something. I haven't quite worked out like what those side missions are actually kind of achieving beyond just kind of giving me some new power-ups. But it's good, but it's just not as focused and not as original as Titanfall, which is a shame.
Is that the first time Call of Duty goes off the rails?
They're still on the rails missions, but you can choose whether you do them or not, which is interesting. Huh. I don't know, and what was interesting to me as well is that they still have good production value. You know, they're good moments. There's one where you, it's the one that I just mentioned actually, where you kind of sneak onto a ship by literally landing in an asteroid field, stealthing your way through the asteroid field, getting on board the ship, then you steal a uniform and, you know, go into the crew, and it's reusing, you know, a level I think that's from the main campaign, but you kind of go back, and then there's, you know, some characters for you to assassinate, but it's kind of a stealth mission, and it's one of those things where I don't believe you have to do it in order to complete the game, but it's fun. It's not like normally, you know, you'd have these side missions where you don't really, where they're just kind of reusing content and it doesn't feel like a fresh experience. I've had fun with all of them. But yeah, I think I would have preferred to play it the other way around. I think if you've not played Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and you've not played Titanfall, play Call of Duty and have an amazing time with Titanfall after. I think that would be a better way around to play it. How about you? What have you been playing?
I was just trying to think if this is the second or third Call of Duty that is in the 3-year cycle, because that's what's so fascinating about from a business standpoint about that series now, is that there are 3 studios working on 3-year cycles.
This is an Infinity Ward one. Infinity Ward and Raven did this one.
Yeah, but I just find it interesting that, you know, from a customer standpoint, it's like, oh, Call of Duty came out again this year, but it's like, yeah, yes, it does, but the way it's structured is these teams have 3 years to get these things done.
What I love about the side effect of that is that you have, I guess it's sort of similar to how Assassin's Creed was when it was on a yearly cycle. The kind of, you'll have a mechanic introduced last year which won't make it into this one because the team who were making this one were locking down at the point where that was going into the previous one, and you have these weird moments where this has a wall running mechanic and a high jump mechanic that are mechanically different to the ones that were last year, and they are clearly, you know, been made by different studios and set up for different studios, and it's this weird kind of, like you say, you're actually playing 3 franchises that have alternating release schedules, and it's very strange from a design point of view, but it's decent and it's polished and it has enough of those Call of Duty moments. But I think crucially, not many of those moments are gameplay related. They're visual, they're settings, they're cool things. But then you play Titanfall and it feels very much more mechanical and off the rails. And it's just, I mean, it's like those classic Infinity Ward Call of Duties that we used to look forward to.
So I've been playing Battlefield, a lot of Battlefield.
Okay, multiplayer primarily, right?
Correct. I still haven't touched the single player.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever will.
It's good. It is good. There's some great missions on there.
Sure.
But they don't have your friends in them.
So yeah, Battlefield for me is about friends, squad spawning, just having a good time in party chat, cycling through those maps, and as everyone seems to be getting solid at that game, there's far more balance in the and there's also balance tweaks that have happened, like the spotting is better than it was at launch. You can actually spot people now. Thank you, DICE, for fixing that. And there's just a greater balance as people learn the game, because one of the issues, particularly immediately at launch, is that some folks were able to play early. So you had a ton of new people dropping into a game where there were folks who were like level 40 something at launch.
Right.
And I mean, that's great if you have the time to get to that level in the week I think you had to play it before launch. But for the rest of us, not such a fun time.
No.
But yes, Battlefield is fantastic. And then, like I said, I played a little bit of Titanfall, not enough to talk about it. Another thing that I picked up was Tyranny.
I saw some chatter about that. How's that?
So it is an Obsidian paradox. It is an Obsidian paradox RPG in the style of the Baldur's Gate, and yeah. So just getting into the game takes about 45 minutes to get through like character creation and choosing who you are, and then getting through the tutorial, because there's almost like a, for I believe it was Dragon Age Inquisition or the Mass Effect. It's typically a BioWare thing to do, where they fill in the backstory of your character if you hadn't played previous games. And there isn't a previous game to play, but it does allow you to choose certain things that have happened in the past, and then those influence the things that are going on inside of the game.
Cool.
So I haven't gotten that far, but yeah, if you know Obsidian, which is Fallout Las Vegas. Oh, why am I blanking? Pillars of Eternity and
Knights of the Republic 2 was Obsidian, wasn't it, as well?
Oh, was it 2 or 1?
1 was not. 2 was, I think.
Right. Yes, 1 is BioWare, 2 is Obsidian. But Obsidian is, a very good RPG studio, and they have a certain maturity and tone that a lot of people like from them. And then Paradox is certainly the hardcore gamer publisher, and so yeah, when you take those two things and you say, here's the game from these two people, that is the game that you are getting when you pick up Tyranny. But I haven't played it long enough. And then the other thing I have been playing a ton of is Civilization VI. Love it. If you enjoy Civilization, if you've never picked up the series before, and you're interested in an accessible strategy game, yep, totally get it. Totally pick it up. It's great. Does a lot of things different from the past. They do need to fix the religion game in it, just because you can be doing your culture right, and you can be doing your military right and everything like that, and then just there's this sneak religion win that can happen, and you just lose everything, and it's hard to defend against, and yeah, but that'll get fixed up. So yeah, put it on your holiday list, because most of that stuff should be tweaked by that point. So what's going on at the studio? What has been going on in the studio is being on a new platform, and all the interesting, curious oddity of that when our background is being on console. So we're not necessarily used to being on mobile in the first place, but then Daydream is not necessarily mobile either, because of the way the market is being positioned on it. So Mike, explain a little bit this weird in-between space that we're kind of learning at the moment.
Yeah, it's a weird one, because most of the lessons around mobile have been, to do with a low engagement, right? So you buy a mobile phone or a cell phone because you want to be able to text people, and I don't know, what do the kids use now? Snapchat, something like that. You want a smartphone, and then somewhere down the line you're bored, so you look at some games and you grab a game, and that means that most of the kind of the mobile games industry is based around freemium games that don't cost anything to get into, but once you are into, there's options to make them play faster, which is often kind of weird to gamers who are used to, buying a boxed game for $60. But that's
in-app purchases,
and subscription models sometimes for some things. Like, it works, and it's been the way that mobile has kind of settled in. In order to do something that is a paid-for app on mobile, you have to hit an amazing quality threshold. You have to be very lucky. You have to maybe, attach directly to a specific community. And there are people who've had amazing success doing that, and rightly so. But it generally is probably a smaller audience that you're targeting by that, because a large percentage of mobile gamers do not pay for games. They don't want to pay for games. They're not interested in paying for games. It's not the expected behavior.
And even the mobile games that that do cost something do not have the wild success that
nowhere near
like not even in the same realm.
And you know what, in the cases where I know the guys who've made those games, they'd be the very first to admit to that like they are serving a niche, and that's fine, and they do well at that, incredibly well in some cases, especially given the team sizes involved often in a mobile game. What's interesting about Daydream is, yes, it's running on a mobile phone, so in theory it's similar in that sense, but crucially, it's running on a technologically advanced mobile phone, the Pixel, so people are spending quite a bit of money. This is not a phone that they've gotten cheap, this is not a hand-me-down, this is a phone that is, an expensive purchase in and of itself. Then they've gone out and they've bought a Daydream headset, which is more money. Can you remind me of the price of Daydream? Is it $60, $70, $80? I can never remember.
It's 60 or 70.
Somewhere around there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a significant purchase on top of that in order to experience Daydream stuff.
But now that I've actually used one, because now I have one, it is a lovely little...
Isn't it, though?
It is a lovely little device.
Yeah, I keep saying it, and people keep nodding along because, obviously we're working with Google, so we are an incredibly unbiased source.
Yeah, we're problematic in that, but I do want to take a moment, though, that the fabric feels really nice. It's a fabric headset. The phone just cradles in there, like gets attached, like it, and it just works, right? Like you just put the phone in there, it recognizes it's in Daydream, it just works. And then what I really like is, compared to when we were prototyping and we were using various other headsets, is the fabric, or the cushion that is like actually against your face. It's not plastic, right? So it's not causing like the sort of steaming up issue.
And it's better ventilated in general, so you don't get that kind of condensation forming. Or, I mean, this is very personal, so I have a very warm head most of the time.
We're both sweaters.
We're both sweaters. Yeah, we're both people who run hot, right?
Yeah.
So for me, they get missed. Most VR headsets get fogged up for me quite quickly. I don't think that's super rare either. I think that makes sense. But with this one, it breathes. It's almost like fabric is a better form of clothing than plastic. It's shocking.
Surprise.
But it's very nice. But to my original point, like, it is a purchase. It is an expense. It's something that signifies I am interested in having a VR experience. So therefore, the marketplace, and it's a very small marketplace right now for Daydream VR apps and games, we can make assumptions about our player. We can make assumptions about how engaged they are, how interested they are, and we can price accordingly. And some people are doing freemium stuff, some people are doing premium stuff, and it's interesting. I've already bought some games that I wanted to play. It's cool. It's working. It's off to a good start, I think. And the apps themselves are strong. A lot of them right out the gate. YouTube is brilliant. Love YouTube on it. Lots of very nice controls to make that a really comfortable viewing experience.
I love Street View.
You love Street View. You've been walking around my neighborhood in Street View, which is great.
Totally what I was doing, because I'm coming to visit you in a couple weeks, and I put in Street View, put in your address, which I will not be sharing on the show.
Thank you.
But yeah, I checked where I was going to come out of the tube station, like the street that I have to walk down, where I have to like turn, it's a great piece of recon tech.
We'll talk about that, because Street View actually directs you to the wrong place, but we'll have that conversation shortly, after the call maybe. But yes, it's cool, and that feels great. I'm looking forward to getting all of my video libraries. This is what I'm taking on the next flight I have to go on, because load up the Google Video. Have you tried the Google Video app on there?
No.
So like I watched a trailer for, I think it was like the new Independence Day or something, and it puts you in a field at night, with a big cinema screen and the light reflecting off the grass and everything. It's a lovely way of watching a movie, and it's just like, that's going to be how I watch in-flight entertainment from now on. Just load that thing up with a few movies, and that's my flight. So yeah, it's really cool, but we're all learning, we're all working out what the pricing is. There's different people releasing games at different prices. As I said, some people releasing them for free, and we're all kind of working out, what fits and what the audience are going to be into. That's an interesting experience, and so far, things are going well for us.
And if you like this show, and you have a Daydream, please feel free to pick up Earthshape.
And to review it as well. That's a really interesting difference in the mobile ecosystem, is we want your stars and your reviews and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that is a huge. I mean, we do it at the end of this. We do it at the end of every show here, because it makes a massive difference as compared to just putting something out there and being like, thanks, hope you enjoyed it, but like, no, we have to make sure to say like, hey, could you give us please give us reviews, likes, and subscribes, because it does make a huge difference in how
it really does.
Do we call them algorithms, or just
it's how things are served to the user, how people find out about us, and also what people pick up. It's the if you look at like Steam or Xbox or PlayStation, like, you tend to go to professional reviewers for opinions about the games, but on mobile that doesn't exist as much.
Right.
Or, often they want to charge you for a review. Can
I take a moment? Okay, you brought it up.
This is hilarious. Yeah, take a moment.
You opened it up, so now I get to walk through it. Yeah, that's a fun little thing, because we have to put our email address in the store. So yeah, we get approached about from, genuinely not reputable. We're not talking about your reputable media outlets, but we get approached requesting, hey, we'll do a review of your game and put it out on our network, which has 6 million viewers, for just $99.99, which is 50% off the regular price that we would normally charge for this type of review. So yes, please get in contact for $99.99 if you would like your app reviewed. So if you're out there and you spent $5 on the game, please take a moment to give us a review. We will not be giving you $99.99, but we would appreciate a small bit of your time to help us out with Earthshape on Daydream. #Daydream. #Earthshape. Thank you.
1, 2, 3. I wanna thank you for reading Freedom Mail again. Thank you for reading Freedom Mail again.
Hi, Mike and Alex. Because how much I enjoyed the video editing process from classes I took in high school, I'm currently studying film at a school in New York. As I continue to develop a critical eye in everything that I experience, my respect and appreciation for games has continued to grow exponentially. While I have every intention of completing my degree, I'm looking to find a way to enter the games industry, specifically game development. However, I'm struggling to figure out where to start. I know there are programs like Stencil and Game Maker Studio. I said that right, Stencil?
Yes.
Okay, because it's just spelled oddly. Where you don't
Welcome to the tech industry.
Right, no, yeah. Stenciler. Where you don't need to code in order to start, but these are really good starting points. I am aware that coding will be something I need to start learning. I'm also developing an interest in audio. What are the trials that an audio designer or audio engineer faces when working in the industry? Sorry, but last question. Yeah, no, we're not answering that one. It was about a platform that we currently have no relationship with, nor do we have the ability to talk about it. Amazon Game Studios. We haven't had any interaction there. No. I've learned a lot from the podcast and appreciate that you guys have taken the time every week to make this show. Thanks, Chris Yu. So I guess the big one is the audio stuff, which I do want to get our audio folks onto this.
Mr. Randall. Yeah. Have we not had him on yet?
We haven't.
We haven't had Chris on. We should definitely get him on.
That's weird, right? Because I was thinking about that.
We have plumbed most of our associates and colleagues at some point for this. This is good. No, we'll definitely get him on at some point. He's great.
But yeah, I mean, do you know anything about the audio designer or engineer side of things, or should we wait until we have Mr. Randall on?
I work with them. Yeah, I mean, I can only give my perspective on it, but yeah, it's a very important job. It's often an under-respected job, which is a shame, because audio often comes in quite late in the day. I think every developer's been guilty of this at some point.
My favorite thing that you've said is, or one of my favorite things that you said is, audio makes graphics better.
It does. That's scientifically proven at this point. Next time, if you just play a game muted at some point and experience how incredibly important audio is to video games. So it's often under-respected. It often comes in late, and that's not the audio person's fault. That's because the team has not gotten their finger out and got them in earlier. It's interesting. Different teams work differently. But generally the process that we work through will be that I produce video of the game, and then Chris will kind of do an audio sync on that, where he will, essentially treat it like he's doing audio for a movie or something, like he's doing Foley on a film project. He does that. We talk about that, and then we work out how to make that work in real time. And then usually that's breaking down audio into lots of different sounds and clips that can be played at different times, making sure that those audio's files kind of fit and work in a specific way. And then it's a step of actual integration. Now, that's an area which can differ depending on the audio person, because sometimes it will be a designer's job to go in and place audio. Sometimes it will be an audio engineer. The ideal situation is the audio person knows their way around the engine enough to be able to place audio and set things up, especially in kind of modern game development, because the amount of controls and mixing you get to do, just using Unity because that's what we use. The amount of real-time mixing you can do. Classic example of this is in a first-person shooter, when you throw a grenade and an explosion goes off, and then everything kind of is down for a little while, and you've got that kind of silence of your ears ringing. That kind of effect work is being done in real time, and that often requires an audio engineer to actually be in the engine, playing with things and getting things to work just right. Often the designer can't be trusted, frankly, with getting that kind of exactly as it should be. So it's a very collaborative process, and there's a really interesting mix there of both being able to do really good audio work, but also, as you've identified, kind of having some technical engine skills. It doesn't usually involve programming per se, but you need to be able to work your way around, how Unity handles sound, for example, or how Unreal handles sound. So there is a lot to learn. Start playing. It's unfortunately that's always the advice, but boot up an engine and start playing. Or find a colleague or friend who's making an indie game and maybe isn't thinking about audio, and see if there's a way you can kind of offer to help or get involved in that project, and learn on the job is really the only way I know that anyone's kind of worked this stuff out. You just have to start playing.
Yeah, no, it's funny because Tyranny which I had mentioned earlier, the sound work on that is amazing. Like, I know that game does not have an absurd budget, but the audio work that's been done in it makes that game sound like it costs way more than it probably did.
Yeah, there's a lot of very interesting kind of cheats and tweaks that audio people can do, often to make things sound bigger and better. I mean, also a big thing that I think a lot of people overlook is audio, is increasingly more of a remixing process. They're not, yes, you will sometimes go out and do, with a microphone and record a sound of a twig breaking, but generally it's actually a lot of it is about using libraries of massive numbers of files and then working out what audio you can find matches the job, and then tweaking things, very precisely to get something sounding just right. That's why, one of my favorites is children playing in TV shows. There is a specific audio about 5 seconds long of kids laughing, which is, if I can do the impression, I'll try and do it. It's ha 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 of like children laughing, much higher pitch than I just did it. And once you've noticed that audio, you're gonna hear it in every TV show and movie forever and ever. Because
mine is the blacksmith noise. There's a blacksmith noise of a blacksmith hitting his hammer,
like a donk. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a very specific, like, chisel-like noise, and I don't know if, like, it showed up in Warcraft for the first time or something. Like, I'm pretty sure it's, like, World of Warcraft, and now in every TV show and every movie, I can hear that exact same, like, audio clip playing.
That's because everyone's using these same libraries, and that doesn't diminish the role of the audio engineer at all, because it becomes about, okay, how do you make Alexander not notice when you've reused something, or how do you make sure that matches the general tone of your game? It's very interesting with Volume. A lot of Volume's audio design, which, Chris put a lot of work into, was actually using the wrong sound effects for things. He was incorporating, because of the Robin Hood stuff, he was incorporating a lot of bows and arrows and sword sound effects into these kind of techie things, and just giving stuff a texture, which was really interesting. But also, one of the interesting with Volumes is the alarm sound effect we have in Volume is in every TV show now. Like, it's just become the fashionable alarm siren sound. So you get these kind of things cycling around. But yeah, that's a real talent. That's a real talent to be able to make something from pieces of things. It's, hip-hop, right? You're finding the things that kind of work and putting them together in a new way, which is great.
If you have a burning question about games, game development, or just about the complexities of the universe, you can send those questions to us via contact@bithelgames.com. That's contact@bithelgames.com, through the YouTube comments of this show, or on Twitter by pinging @MikeBithell, @Slawinski, or @VolumeGame. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bithell Games Podcast. Actually, there's also Earth-Shaped Control, isn't there now? Yeah, at Earth.
Oh yeah, you started up a Twitter account without telling me.
Actually, we had it because we needed to do it for trademark purposes.
Oh right, okay, nice.
Welcome to business, kids. So yeah, when you
follow our Twitter account that exists entirely for legal reasons at Earth-Shaped. What's it called? Earth-Shaped Mission Control, right?
Earth-Shaped Control.
But it's spelt CTRL.
CTRL, yep. Yeah, I should probably talk about that at some point, because that has to do with, protecting yourself. So yeah, thanks.
Wow. And they say we're not artists.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bithell Games Podcast. We can always use your support, so please provide reviews and 5 stars on iTunes, likes and subscribes on YouTube, and positive reinforcement for Earthshape on the Daydream platform. Reviews, that would be nice. Nice reviews would be even nicer. Thank you, because it does legitimately make a huge difference. This podcast was produced by Jonathan Downen. We'll be back next week. I'm Alexander Slawinski. Thanks again, and get in the last word, Mike.
Enunciate.